Little bit of celebrity game entertainment before the main event. Guy Sebastian, Shannon Nolan. Not sure Humphrey got a lot of kicks, but he didn't call for many. 27-point lead to Sydney at halftime here against the Blues. They're on the ropes, the Blues.
They're on the ropes and they want to turn things around from that second quarter. They conceded the inside 50s were 16-8 in favour of the Sydney Swans, 17-4 in the hit-outs and 15-4 in the clearances. So they were just smashed in that second term after being good early.
And the defenders, Waite and Thornton, have been pretty good on O'Loughlin and Hall. It's just the peripheral defenders. Nick Davis got on top with 3 goals. Just the positioning of the Carlton boys. I'm sure Dennis Pagan would have been talking about the guys around the stoppages against Sydney, especially forward of the centre for Sydney, because that is the difference in the end. The 4-goal margin is probably due to Carlton spectating the ball too much.
Still blue skies here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Sydney by 27, about to get the second half underway. Lee Colbert.
Dwayne, yes, Anthony Koutafiti starting on the bench for Carlton, and young Hartwell. It's actually his other leg, Dwayne, so probably if there's any consolation, it's not the one he's injured last year. So back to you, boys.
That's good news for Adam Hartlett that it's not the hamstring he tore off the bone. From the ball up to start this second half, Jolly. The clearance for Sydney. High kick. O'Keefe flies and held it for a long time and long enough according to the umpire. Pokes the pass. Davis. He had a quarter out. 3 goals in the second term. Claims he marked that one. Umpire would have none of it. Rakes it in again. Little toe poke to Fosdyke. Ablett. Schneider. Centering kick, goal square. Barry Hall's down there. Lurking also Matthews. Tries to fend off. Got Carazzo high. And he gets a kiss for his trouble.
It looks like the change has been made on Davis. Houlihan has gone for the Davis matchup.
Carazzo wide. And Murphy, the big leap, can't bring the mark down. Thornton off the deck. Tough for Kennedy. Overran it slightly. Jolly. And he gets the push in the back, Jolly. Kennedy a little untidy. 73 plays 46. If you've just joined us, the Blues led by 26 points halfway through the opening term. But it's been all the Swans since then. No mark to Wiggins. Murphy. The handball out. Wiggins makes amends. Back to Thornton. Kennedy wide and doesn't complete the mark. Got a touch on it before it crossed the boundary line. And Bryce Gibbs, surprisingly enough, having a spell on the bench, gentlemen.
Saw him limp off the ground at half-time. Get Lee Cole just to check on Gibbs to see if he'll take any further part.
Well, their #1 draft choice has played every game this year in his debut season. He has been good. Short passes, speaking of good, from Jude Bolton. It was perfect to O'Keefe. Just travelled the required 15. And now Barry Hall with ease.
That's where you can't relax as the defender. I think half the crowd and certainly half the defensive half for Carlton thought that O'Keefe was going to have a shot on goal, but just Barry Hall worked very hard off the ball. Second lead, pushed off his opponent and got a nice shot on goal from 30 metres out dead in front.
Already got one for the afternoon, Barry Hall. Nice off the boot. That's gorgeous. He's got 2.
It was a great lead from Hall. O'Keefe, Hall, the usual suspects there. As we see O'Keefe and Hall together congratulating each other. But it was the Carlton midfielders, Lynchy, you're spot on. They hesitated. They had to get back and fill that hole there. If you're going to be free, get in the corridor. You can't allow Hall. There's not much Waite can do in that situation there, leading straight up the middle of the ground. The wingers or a midfielder had to sprint as soon as O'Keefe marked that ball to try and guard that space.
In the modern game, you just can't have spectators. Everyone's got to be on the ball all the time.
29 goals for the season now, Barry Hall. Probably won't get near the 78 goals, 38 that he kicked last year. But the Swans just gaining a little momentum at the right end of the season. Matthews caught by Bentic. No one gets the clearance. Another ball up.
Matthews done a very good job on Mark Murphy. You've got a feel for young Mark Murphy. His second year of league football is getting tagged. We just see Matthews all over Mark Murphy there. Mark Murphy.
He's done some big jobs in the last couple of weeks, Ben Matthews. Has been in sensational form. Jude Bolton, speaking of good form, got it from Fosdyke, kicked a half forward. Tackle by Lachlan, superb. Wiggins got it on and thumped forward by Thornton. Fosdyke tries to shuffle out a handball. Simpson, their captain this afternoon, trying to inspire. Will get another ball up.
He's done a good job, Fosdyke, on Simpson. Simpson was very good last week with 28 possessions. So far, early in the third term, he's up to 11, but hasn't had a big influence on the game.
And the ball up. Carazzo down to Bentic. Scotland. Looks up and sees Favola. Little nudge out from Leo Barry. He did that a couple of times in the opening term. Nothing was played. Simpson, play on advantage. The captain's goal.
That was well done. Favola presented for the ball, played on the mark, the free kick a little. There was certainly a shove from the torso of Leo Barry, but Simpson was awake enough to run into open space in the forward 50 and had the ability to convert. That's good. He's been closely checked by Fosdyke all day, and that is very good when you find space to capitalise on those opportunities. First goal for the day. They'll need a couple more out of the midfield for Carlton to give them a chance.
So the first goal of the afternoon for Simpson, 79 to 52. It's not an insurmountable lead. If the Blues can replicate their first term work rate, they'll be back into it in a short space of time. Jude Bolton to Schneider. Handball inboard. Matthews. Ty Kennelly, who hasn't had a spectacular afternoon. Inside 50. Ball thumb clear of Davis. Kick around the body from Fosdyke is out of bounds on the full.
Good pressure from Carlton. Positive signs here early. Really forcing Sydney wide and making them earn every possession.
Thornton back pocket. Thought about coming to the open side. Sends a long bomb out of the area, but it's all Sydney. Jude Bolton. Malcheski. He can load up from there. From 50. Kicks from 49. Superb.
He's the best player on the ground at the moment, Malcheski. 16 possessions, 6 inside 50s, 1 goal, 1 from the half-back line. Hell, his improvement over the last 12 months has been exceptional. Played every game for the Swans this year. He's the modern-day sweeper, and more importantly, Lynchy, he can really finish off. Most kicks are lace out, and that was just a magnificent goal through the middle of the ground.
And through the middle of the ground is the key. They're just doing all they can to dominate the corridor when they've got the ball or when they haven't.
Nick Malcheski, who's been on an alcohol ban, self-imposed, since his mum's wedding on January 18 this year. Won't touch it until the end of the season. From the ball up. He's really playing some good football too this year. Still yet to have a flag next to his name. Emergency in the flag win back in 2005, Nick Malcheski. Kennedy tried to get a handball out. Bauer, Kennedy, Bannister. And now the run.
Fev wants to turn and go back to the goal square.
Go
So
all the way, Scotland.
Scotland from 48, normally good. This time very good as well. They won't be blown away, the Blues.
Corridor football at its best there. They took the opposition on, Alistair. They went through the middle of the ground and the hands were terrific. We see Bannister take the opposition on through the corridor. It was great leading from the forwards. They led away from Scotland knowing he had space to lead into. The last minute we see Bolton try and put some pressure on, but that's a great goal. Carlton really opening up their forward line at the centre bounces to force the Carlton midfield to run and carry and kick some great goals.
Reliable Heath Scotland kicks his first of the afternoon. Third in the best and fairest last year behind Lance and Fev. And Paul Roos, the normally calm Paul Roos, knows that he's running out of time to get his team into the top 4. From the ball up, Everett having a spectacular day at the office to half forward to O'Loughlin. Nice collect, shoots out a handball. Kirk tried to shuffle a kick out. Schneider going nowhere, ball up.
And Carlton just trying to rotate their forward line. They had Walker deep in the square, and Leo Barry picked him up. But now Barry's out to Favola. Walker's pushed up into the defence to be a loose man defence.
On the ball up, free kick, it'll go to Kennedy.
Good to see Bryce Gibbs out there just on the top of the screen.
Doesn't look like he's moving too freely, but hopefully he'll loosen up.
It was a free off the ball. It went to Carazzo. Good commitment, Bannister. Thumped it down to Wiggins. Kicks towards Lappin.
And Lappin's one of those players who can kick multiple goals. He's very handy on the ground and certainly in the air for a small body. He can take an overhead mark. Just ran forward of his opponent in Kennelly, and that's good use of the body. Just sort of protected the ball and took a nice mark in the end.
Important kick this for Matthew Lappin in game 248. Plays his 250th in a couple of weeks. Less than 150 players in the history of the AFL VFL have done it. So he's in elite company, and he kicks the goal when needed.
He's been a very good player for Carlton since crossing over St Kilda. Matty Lappin had a fairly quiet day starting on the bench, but you're right, Lynchy, if he can just float through and kick a couple here, they desperately need to take the pressure off Favola. Favola's trying hard, but Leo Barry's doing a very good job, so they need other avenues. Fisher's been okay. They just need Lappin just to hopefully try and come in and kick a couple of goals this quarter.
Started on the bench, Matthew Lappin. Working his way into it now. First goal of the afternoon for him. 85 plays 64. Back to 21 points. From the ball up. Fosdyke going nowhere. Umpire Chris Cavillans says, I'll have it.
And as we just saw, centre breaks, the last 7 have gone in favour of the Swans, and they have certainly dominated clearances across the whole ground today, and that has gone well and truly in favour of them, 29-14.
Carazzo, third man up to Fisher. Back to Scotland. Gets away from Fosdyke. Has a bounce, a little too arrogant perhaps. Got the kick away. Full forward. O'Halpin's down there. Adam Goods gets back and thumps it through for a behind.
Didn't mind at least Scotland trying to back himself, make something happen, and he ran. The bounce wasn't executed well, but I think the decision wasn't too bad.
Tough to burn off Fosdyke as a former national 400-metre runner as a kid. He can turn it on from the wing. O'Keefe.
This boy can run a little bit too, O'Keefe.
Toward Barry Hall. Didn't quite read it. Gets it back from O'Loughlin. Gives the don't argue to 2. Shrugs a tackle. Got one a little high. Matthews wide. O'Loughlin. And he can kick it from there.
Barry Hall wants the ball long and deep, but Mickey O'Loughlin's turned his back on the goals, and that's a sure sign that he'll set for a shot on goal. Now he'll give the little dummy as if I was going to pass it off, but no intentions.
There's his numbers for the afternoon. Just the 1 goal for Michael O'Loughlin. And he's had a very accurate year. Misses this time. Only a behind. He's kicked 25 goals, 8 for the season, Michael O'Loughlin. So a rare miss from him this year. One of the most accurate kicks in the competition.
Poor decision again. Went to a 2-on-1.
Schmidt, Kirk, McVeigh. Can't mark. Good spoil. Houlihan. Up across the line.
Just haven't thought their way out of their kick-outs, Carlton, for most of the game. As we see here, 2-on-1 situation. Always going to be very tough under a long ball.
21 points the margin. Ball slapped down towards Walker. It was an accidental toe out of play. Won't be paid deliberate. Ball in.
And Carlton are pushing big numbers back. They've got every player on the ground in their defensive half. Favola's up over the centre circle. And as we've talked about, they've tried to set these up all day to have their forwards running back towards goal into space.
Palm down from Everett. Matthews. Mount Chesky. High bomb. Hall under it.
Well done, Thornton.
Yeah, got there with the fist. Thumped it towards the line and got a fortuitous bounce Schmidt couldn't grab it. Ball in.
Just need to see that from your fellow defenders. When you've got a one-on-one situation with a high ball, have the courage to come off your direct opponent like Thornton did there. That was great play.
Sydney's won the last 9 games it's played against Carlton, and Paul Roos is 7 from 7 coaching against Carlton. On track to make it 8 from 8. Bannister chips it wide. Simpson, no one to go to, forced to hold it up. Now Fisher leads short. Tough one though. Kick made it impossible for him. Goods. O'Halpin tried to corral him. Goods to Craig Bolton. Fosdyke. It's been a good battle here in Scotland. Barry Hall too far out to score. Back towards Craig Bolton. It's cut off by O'Halpin.
Bit too cute there, Barry Hall.
It was a good run for O'Halpin to go with Craig Bolton, who's a very good distance runner, and stayed with him.
Blues on the rebound.
Lappin's
Bentic, long, Lappin, half held, half grabbed. Kennelly knocks it down. Lappin had it, lost it, got it.
Oh, wow.
Goals it. Unbelievable goal. The Blues are back in it.
Great to see Lynchy just forcing the ball forward. Good coaching from Dennis Pagan, as you called. The forwards are all up the ground. It allows the Carlton midfield to run and carry, and that's a dangerous kick for any defender there. Just a long kick. Great contest. We see here Lappin just holding his feet. That was the key. Held his feet in the contest. A lot of scrimmages around. 2 Sydney players go to ground. Lappin holds his feet. Very good goal there, as you just see the replay there. Richards trying in vain to smother the ball, but you've got to hold your feet in the contest.
Lappin, a rabbit out of the hat. 2 goals now, and the Blues back in it. 86-71. We've played 15 minutes third term. Bentic tried to steal it from the ball up. Murphy forced to lay a tackle.
Carlton haven't got a lot of game breakers up in the forward half. Certainly for Vowell one, he's been quiet. And Lappin's another one that can kick multiple goals. He's pushed up into the midfield now, and as we've talked about, he'll try to turn Kennelly around and run back.
And the ball up. O'Keefe spins out of trouble, got one to the ear. It'll come back. Carlton can kick big scores quickly. They do concede big scores the way they're playing this year, but they are the 3rd most highest scorer for the season, even though they're 14th on the ladder.
Swans forward line trying to huddle up to create space. Carlton put outriders around the huddle.
O'Keefe.
Good lead, O'Loughlin.
Perfect lead, O'Loughlin, although the Blues read it. Thornton left it behind. O'Loughlin beats all 3 of them. To Hall, gets around, snaps, high, very, very high. Touched on the line, perhaps.
That's a
And
mark
it's
to
there,
Everett,
and he's marked it.
That's not good. It was firstly Thornton letting the ball go behind, which is just a Cardinal sin for a defender. Then 1 metre out under a high ball. Now that's very hard, even if you're by yourself, to mark the ball. But when you've got 6 or 7 players there, you must jump and get a fist on that, surely.
He's become a cult figure here. He's made longer putts, Peter Everett. He kicks the goal.
The attempt was there, Lynchy, from Kennedy, but just not the technique, unfortunately. Maybe 2 Carlton players go up. Play the percentages, had to kill that ball.
Yeah, when you're that close to the goal line, you can even fumble it across the line. You must have strong body. Even small players must go out, make a big pack, big contest, get the momentum of the ball going over the line. But class act, Peter Everett, but shouldn't be allowed to take a mark in that situation. Dennis Pagan would be absolutely rope rule with that one.
Having another good afternoon, Peter Everett. 8 possessions, 2 goals, 24 hit-outs, and he's back in the middle against O'Halpin. Doesn't win this one. Fosdyke caught a little high.
He's played dropping the ball.
Okay. It'll come back.
The Carlton's intensity, like the first quarter, that's going to be the key to this game, Lynchy, is to maintain the intensity and the pressure for 4 quarters.
O'Halpin to Houlihan, long, Kennedy. Free kick, it'll go Carlton's way.
To the Feeties. It was just held, I think it was Craig Bolton, just got, I think, the arms around the waist. Couldn't get away from his opponent, and Koutafidis will be paid the free kick. Quick response, very important one.
Hasn't had a big afternoon, Anthony Koutafidis.
Well done.
Gets himself on the score sheet, gives his team a chance.
And that's what you need, some big bodies up in the forward line to make it contest. Now, that was a free kick, but he's an intimidating type of player, Koutafidis. Craig Bolton was worried about where he was. He was going to be on the end of a long ball and just held him off the ball. Well, actually, it wasn't Craig Bolton. Can't quite see who that is. Yes, it was. It was Bolts. And just a presence. Koutafidis has a presence. Hasn't had a lot of the ball, but he has put pressure on the defensive half of the Swans and got a goal. Was rewarded.
Only the 7th possession of the afternoon for Anthony Koutafidis, coming off a 26 possession game last week. First goal for him for the afternoon. We've played 19 minutes, third term. Important takeaway. High towards Barry Hall. Big fly. Didn't mark. O'Keefe to Crum. Schneider flies through and goals.
If Carlton can somehow negate the centre square clearances in this game of football, they are a super chance to be right in this game of football. As you see Hall fly for a mark, may have been able to take it out in front, but at least it's called to spillage and really does put the back line under the pump. But that was great collect from Ryan O'Keefe. Great hands, great front and square, quick hands to Snyder for a great goal. But Carlton need to work at the centre clearance. If they can somehow negate Sydney's presence in there, they're a chance.
First goal of the afternoon for Adam Schneider, and it's back to a 21-point margin.
It's a goal fest at the moment.
Still 10 minutes to travel. It'll be a long term. Our Halpin inside 50. Dempster got the toe poke on the ball. Ablett, Matthews, open forward line for Sydney.
Got to go here.
Waite comes hard.
Good boy,
met
Waite.
by Bevan.
And he's got the reward for going in lower and harder than his opponent. That was good work. It was going to be a pretty nervous period for him. He knew he was going back into stride, but got rewarded and a bit of a sore knee out of that as well.
Especially when you know you're going to cop one, Lynchy. It's all right to go low and hard, but you know there's traffic coming your way. That is great play, Jared Waite.
Young towards Kennedy. Kennedy can't mark.
His hands, Kennedy, just needs to work on his marking.
Lappin to Favola. Scoops it up. And the goal fest might continue here. He's being corked, Waite, but he's staying on.
Great mark for Volo, but I've just watched Kennedy today and his abilities. We see Jared Waite low and hard, just head over the ball. That's a great sign for any young player. Keep your eyes on the ball, wear the contact.
Now, Fev's kicked 1 goal, 2 so far today. Had the 8 possession. Started off the game pretty well. Important to convert this one. He's got the journey, no worries. Can tend to just stab at these sometimes from the close range.
It's been a long time since he's had the ball in his hands. About 20 minutes of actual play time, Brendan Favola.
And just stabbed at that one and didn't kick it. He kicks the ball 60 metres, but he gets inside the forward 50 and just punches them through.
I think there he got too close to the man on the mark, which forced him to kick the ball high.
Normally very accurate. Quick kick in. Malcheski held up. And now takes off and kicks to the wing. Jolly's down there. Strong in front of O'Halpin. 20 points the margin.
He'll get stronger, O'Halpin. Disappointed in that effort there. Just needs a couple of big pre-seasons in the gym.
Schneider stayed down. Rolls it towards full forward. Pushed on the kick, and is that out of bounds on the full?
Just bounced in front of the line. But yeah, I agree. O'Halpin will get stronger, but probably the technique. Not used to body on body and jumping, getting the fist on it. We just see here it came off the toe and just landed inside.
Perfect palm down. O'Halpin to Murphy to Lappin.
He's actually had his hand on the ball a little bit, O'Halpin, as far as the centre clearances goes. He's got the taps.
Favola.
Well done, Fev.
Hard commitment at the ball, knocked it down to Koutafidis. Sends it long. Kennedy again with a one-on-one. Craig Bolton, Kennedy. Tough man to beat, Craig Bolton. He's
That
been
was a win.
All-Australian defender. He's the fish John West rejected, really. Brisbane, in their prime, gave him away because they couldn't fit him in. That's how strong they were.
But that was great science from Favola there. Caused a spillage.
Back into play. Halpin. Schmidt got the kick away. It's all about the bounce, and it was a tough one. O'Loughlin, Fosdyke, Everett's leading back. He's the only one inside 50, and he's got it.
That's the strength of Everett, Alistair. His ability to win the ball in the ruck effort, but then to push forward. Barry Hall's come up for a spell. Different matchup, weight on Everett. That was a great kick, great lead. As you see Favola causing a great spillage there a minute ago.
At his best, a legitimate forward, Peter Everett.
Already got 2 for the afternoon. He loves it off the boot. It was pretty. He's got 3.
That was the Sydney Swans at their best. They rebound off half-back. They ran the ball well through the corridor, which opens up both sides to the leading forward. Now, Peter Everett had a lot of space out to his left, ran into that space, and very hard for a defender. And Spud, you and I both played a lot of football at full-back. It's not a great feeling when you're one-on-one in that 50 and the ball is coming through the centre very quick. So Peter Everett capitalised on that opportunity. Good kick on goal.
Three goals to the Spider, 104 to 78. We've played 24 minutes in this third term. Still over 6 remaining. It's been a high-scoring quarter. O'Halpin, Fosdyke, O'Halpin, Bannister, wrapped up, back to O'Halpin. High inside 50 towards Favola. Good one-on-one battle with Barry. Fisher to his own advantage. Might try and soccer it, doesn't. Out of play is a win for the Blues. They'll get a ball into the danger zone. A behind would have simply turned it over to Sydney.
And O'Halpin's added a bit of spark into the midfield. Getting his hand on the ball, jumps around. Not a lot of structure to it, but he's certainly enthusiastic.
O'Halpin and Jolly go at it. And Malcheski tied up, going nowhere. We'll get another ball up.
Now, it's much easier said than done, but Carlton need to clear this out in their forward area, have a stoppage. They must try to spread it out and stretch the defence of the Sydney Swans so they can have a shot on goal. Very difficult with these sort of numbers around.
So it's too far out for the Swans to rush a behind here. Although, saying that, Adam Goods rushes a behind. Free kick's been found anyway, has it?
Yeah, it has. One win for Carlton has been Houlihan. He's had Davis taken off the ground. Davis kicking 3 goals in the first half, so some positive signs here for the Blues.
Malcheski finds Craig Bolton. Jude Bolton calls for it. So too does Fosdyke. They're both in the general vicinity. Tackle laid by Jude. Scotland got it out to Bentic. Murphy with some space. Now White. Favola calls for it back to the square. Now he leads front and square. Can't mark it. Gathers his own crumb. Shoots it out to Gibbs. Houlihan. High bomb. Fisher from 5 deep flies but can't mark it. Ball comes back towards Simpson. Plays for the free. Doesn't get it. Gathers the leather. Kennelly to Goods. Almost dacked. And is that deliberate? Rolls around the boundary kindly and we'll get a ball in.
Good signs for the Carlton forwards here, just really forcing the issue.
Everett to do the ruck work.
This is where Kennedy needs some support. Someone to jump over the top.
He got there late. He spent all his beans trying to get to the contest and couldn't go at the contest. Kennelly. Handball out, misses the target. Murphy needs to hit the target. Sees Lappin and Favola long. Lappin flies. 3 Swans fly with him. Jude Bolton caught. Dragged down. Bentic. He's over it. Caught by Dempster. Ball up.
Carlton's contested possessions have been terrific this quarter. Like the first quarter, they have won the contested possession. So the 50-50 ball has been a real positive for the Blues this third quarter.
They'll need to turn their last quarter form around there to grab this victory. They've only won 1 last quarter for the year, the Blues. Scotland just pokes it inside 50 and wide. And a good mark taken by Simpson.
Yeah. Good decision, Scotland. Backed himself to play on and hit the target on his left foot. Be a difficult shot from out wide. But these are the ones Carlton must capitalise on. They find it very difficult to have shots on goal from the corridor. Sydney just dominate that sort of region of the ground.
So Nick Malcheski with the most possessions on the ground for the afternoon. 28 minutes gone, third term. Important kick. Brings it back, but not enough. Almost a mark on the line, not paid. Favola asks and doesn't get. Lee Colbert.
Keep an eye on the bench, boys, for Carlton. They've got a few injury concerns. Kennedy just came off. Carrazzo and also Jarrad Waite copped the heavy one. Bryce Gibbs is an interesting one. He's not 100% out there, boys. Seems to be a leg injury.
It's bad news. Dempster wide. Kirk.
Oh, well done. That's experience and a strong body there to hold his ground and take a very good contested mark.
He identified where the ball was going, held his opponent away from that spot, and then jumped to that spot at the last minute. Jude Bolton back to Kirk. Everett can line up for yet another. Peter Everett. He's having a great afternoon.
Yeah, he's in the ruck now, pushing forward. So Satano Halpin just had to be aware of Everett pushing forward. He was guarding space in front of Barry Hall, but when your direct opponent, and it's Peter Everett at this stage, pushes forward, you must man him up.
This is for number 4. From the paint of the 50 into the goal square. Barry Hall, massive fly. Kirk, perfect roving goal.
That's a good spot to be, and that's Brett Kirk summed up by that goal. He's such a professional in this team. He leads by example. He plays a role week in, week out, and the role for a small player in this sort of situation is you're not going to take the big mark. So get to the front in case there is a spill. The defenders are going to try to punch forward, so you run there. That's what Davis was doing early. That's what Kirk did on that occasion. Took the ball from a good punch back, good snap, goal.
Out to a 30-point lead. They can smell September, Sydney. Played in the last 2 AFL Grand Finals. Important 4 points this afternoon if they can hold this form to the final siren and the ball up. Jude Bolton tried to slip a handball out. Hits Kirk to Goods. Craig Bolton holds it up at half-back. The Blues, of course, will get a priority pick in the draft. They'll get pick 1 if they don't win another game for the year. If they do win another game, number 1 pick won't be theirs unless they finish bottom of the ladder. Craig Bolton spears it, finds Jude Bolton.
This is what's picked up with the Sydney Swans over the last month. The ability to hit targets. Certainly in the first 2 months of the season, they were very sloppy going forward, just turned the ball over on a regular occurrence. Now this has got much better.
Goods wobbles it to Everett.
And of course, this guy's form's getting a little bit better too, Lynchy.
That certainly helps. And once again, just exposing the lack of experience of Satano Halpin, just the lack of ability to put at least body into the contest. If you can't hit the ball, you must at least put body on body and hopefully cause a spillage. But that is a very good player, starting to find a rich vein of form and get some fitness under the belt.
Lines up for his 4th, Peter Everett. The new Colt figure in Sydney misses to the near side, only a behind. So the Blues don't win another game for the year and finish low on the ladder. They'll get a couple of picks in the first 4, maybe 1 and 3, 1 and 4, which will help them rebuild, help them immensely, really. Simpson, they need early draft picks, and there's some good ones, according to the experts, out of last week's under-18 carnival. That will be taking the top 4 or 5. Davis out of play.
I think they'd like a big Matt Cruiser, a 200-centimetre, 100-kilo ruckman forward would be very handy, but I'm sure they're not focusing on that just at the moment.
I'm sure some of their administrators are.
Oh, probably quietly behind the scenes, but there's players out there who've got a bit of pride, and I'm sure Dennis Pagan has got nothing other than victories on his mind.
Yeah, that can be guaranteed. Dennis Pagan, he wants to win internal trials. From the ball in, Bantic, Walker wobbles it in the Favola direction. Goods gets back and collects it. Dempster runs into a 3-pack of Blues. Will get a ball up inside a minute to 3/4 time.
Goods has been able to double team Favola a couple of times, so Bannister just has to get out of the road, get either deep or up the ground to allow Favola to compete one-on-one.
Good. Shuffled the handball out. Missed the target. Scotland got it from Simpson. Spears it to Favola, and it travelled the required 15, and he can cut the margin back on the three-quarter time siren.
15.1 metres, I would have thought, Blake.
And you would have thought after his last shot, as you described, Spud, he was a little bit close to the man on the mark. Take those extra couple of steps back, I would have thought he would get the journey by about 20 metres and kick through the ball.
To cut it back to 25 points. Had the last shot of the second term, but it was about 70 from goal. This one from 45. Only behind.
Well, he certainly got a better piece of that one. Kicked the ball fairly well. Bit of a high fade, but just hit the post. Unfortunate. They were desperate for a goal before three-quarter time.
1 goal forward to Favola.
Three-quarter time here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. The Sydney Swans on the march toward September. Perhaps 4 points well within their grasp here this afternoon. The Blues started well, led by 26 points, Carlton, halfway through the opening term. But at three-quarter time, it's the Sydney Swans by 30. 17-9, 111 to Carlton. 12-9, 81.